Every morning, I swallowed this tiny pill and thought my heart was safe, until a heart attack taught me I was dead wrong. I'm Harold, and if you're counting on medicine alone to shield you from heart attack symptoms, listen carefully. Scientists at Harvard just revealed 5 hidden enemies silently destroying your arteries. And the most dangerous one might already be inside you, right now. Stick around, because uncovering this could save your life or someone you love. So, the big question is, why does that suit of armor have holes? Why can't that pill, as good as it is, protect us all by itself? I want you to imagine this. Your heart is the most diligent worker in your body. It works without a single day off from before you were even born. The high blood pressure pill your doctor gives you. Think of it as a brilliant supervisor. It helps regulate the workflow, makes sure that the worker isn't being pushed too hard, and keeps the pressure from reaching a dangerous level. But, that supervisor cannot provide the bricks and mortar to repair the factory walls. He can't bring in the fuel to keep the engine running smoothly. And that is where the enemy I mentioned comes in, silent nutritional starvation. This is the core difference we have to understand. Medication manages symptoms. Nutrition builds and nourishes your cells. In other words, taking your pills without paying attention to nutrition is like bailing water out of a leaky boat. You might keep it from sinking, but you'll be exhausted. And you never actually patch the hole. A deficiency in essential vitamins and minerals silently erodes your health from the inside out. It makes your blood vessel walls weaker, more prone to inflammation and damage. This creates the perfect breeding ground for a stroke or for those heart attack symptoms to appear without any warning at all. So, what are the tools to patch that leak? Who are the workers who bring the raw materials? They are the 5 allies, the 5 vitamins, that we are about to discover. Starting with our very first one. After my heart attack, I had dozens of doctor's appointments. And during one follow-up, after looking at my blood work, my doctor mentioned a word I'd never heard before. He said, "Your homocysteine levels are a little high, Harold. We need to keep an eye on that." Homocysteine. As an old teacher, I can't just let a new word go by without understanding it. So I went home, fired up the computer, and started digging. And here's what I learned from trusted medical sites like the American Heart Association. It turns out that homocysteine is an amino acid found naturally in your blood. But when its levels get too high, it becomes toxic. It acts like an acid, silently damaging the delicate inner lining of our arteries, making them vulnerable to inflammation and dangerous plaque buildup. Many studies have shown a direct link between high homocysteine levels and the risk of heart attack symptoms and stroke. And here's the magic part, our bodies have a special task force to handle this stuff. That task force is the B vitamins, and the frontline soldier is vitamin B6. It helps convert homocysteine into other, safer substances. When I read that, a light bulb went on in my head. It's not complicated. It's like maintaining your old car. You don't just put gas in it, you have to change the oil regularly to keep the engine from getting gummed up from the inside. And vitamin B6, well, it's like that high-quality motor oil for our blood vessels. What made me feel most relieved was learning that this motor oil was right there on my dinner plate. A piece of chicken breast, some salmon, very ordinary things. It taught me an important lesson in elderly wisdom. Sometimes the greatest solutions come from the smallest changes we make on our dinner plates. I want to ask you a personal question. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten what you were there for? Or been in the middle of a sentence and suddenly, a perfectly familiar word just vanishes? I've been there hundreds of times. And every time it happened, I just chuckle and say to myself, well, that's just old age. Your family, maybe even your doctor, says the same thing. It seems to be the default answer for every little decline we experience. But, what if that isn't the truth? What if that fatigue, that brain fog, isn't a life sentence of getting older, but actually a cry for help, from your very own heart? On my journey, I brought these feelings to my doctor. And he explained something to me that completely changed how I look at aging. He said that as we get older, our stomachs produce less acid. This makes it much, much harder to absorb a critically important vitamin from our food. That vitamin is B12. And this deficiency is alarmingly common. The National Institutes of Health estimates that up to 20% of people over 60 could be low in B12 and not even know it. B12 is responsible for producing healthy red blood cells, the delivery trucks that carry oxygen to every corner of your body. When you're low on B12, you have fewer trucks, and the ones you do have are old and slow. And when your brain doesn't get enough oxygen, you feel foggy, forgetful. When your heart doesn't get enough oxygen, it has to beat faster, work harder, and it slowly wears itself down. So the next time you feel tired or forgetful, please, don't just write it off as old age. Think of it as the gas light on your car's dashboard. It doesn't mean the car is broken. It's just telling you, please, give me the right fuel. That fatigue isn't the end of the story. It's a signal for us to act, to take care of our senior health with more wisdom. Most of us know vitamin D as the bone vitamin, right? The sunshine vitamin that keeps our skeleton strong. That's what my mother taught me, and it's what I taught my children. But what if I told you that after age 60, its most important job has nothing to do with your bones? I remember the long winters here, that achy feeling in my joints, my spirits just feeling low and gray. I used to think, it's just the weather, my old bones acting up. But as a curious man, I had to wonder if there was a deeper connection. And so I started my research, like a diligent student. I came across a fascinating article on Harvard Health Publishing, the consumer health information from the renowned Harvard Medical School. And that article led me to a stunning finding from a major study published in Circulation, one of the most respected cardiology journals from the American Heart Association. That study, after tracking tens of thousands of people, found a clear truth. Those with low vitamin D levels had a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular events, including heart attack symptoms, than those who had enough. It's like this: vitamin D acts like a firefighter, putting out the silent fire of inflammation inside our artery walls. It helps our blood vessels relax and stay flexible. Without it, that fire silently rages, and our hearts have to work much harder to pump blood through pipes that are slowly getting stiff and causing high blood pressure. From the day I read that, I started looking at my morning walks in a whole new light. Every step in the early sun isn't just for my bones anymore, it's a way for me to send a little bit of peace to my tireless heart. So, I want to ask you something. If you also believe that a little morning sunshine is precious medicine for our senior health, please, just comment with the word "sun" below. Just one word. So I know that you and I are on this journey together. Imagine the four allies we've just talked about, like four brilliant musicians in an orchestra. Vitamins B6 and B12 are the percussionists, keeping the rhythm of the orchestra clean and precise. Vitamin D is the string section, creating a solid foundation of sound, protecting and supporting the entire piece. And omega-3, well, that's the cello section, creating those smooth melodies that help the whole symphony flow peacefully. They play beautifully, don't they? But an orchestra, no matter how talented its musicians are, will descend into chaos without one person. The conductor. The one who ensures every musician plays at the right time, in the right place, and works together to create a perfect symphony instead of just a jumble of noise. And it's the same in the story of our senior health. We need a conductor to orchestrate everything, to make sure it all works in harmony, avoiding those wrong notes that can lead to high blood pressure or a catastrophic stroke. And this is where our story becomes the most critical. This is the part one promised you right at the very beginning. The part that my own doctor warned me to be extremely careful about, because it directly involves the safety of so many of us. Our final ally. The heart's conductor. I want to ask you one final thing before we pull back the curtain on this secret. Please, just comment with the number 5. The number of this final ally, if you're truly ready. Imagine the four allies we've just talked about, like four brilliant musicians in an orchestra. Vitamins B6 and B12 are the percussionists, keeping the rhythm of the orchestra clean and precise. Vitamin D is the string section, creating a solid foundation of sound, protecting and supporting the entire piece. And omega-3, well, that's the cello section, creating those smooth melodies that help the whole symphony flow peacefully. They play beautifully, don't they? But an orchestra, no matter how talented its musicians are, will descend into chaos without one person. The conductor. The one who ensures every musician plays at the right time, in the right place, and works together to create a perfect symphony instead of just a jumble of noise. And it's the same in the story of our senior health. We need a conductor to orchestrate everything, to make sure it all works in harmony, avoiding those wrong notes that can lead to high blood pressure or a catastrophic stroke. And this is where our story becomes the most critical. This is the part one promised you right at the very beginning. The part that my own doctor warned me to be extremely careful about, because it directly involves the safety of so many of us. Our final ally. The heart's conductor. I want to ask you one final thing before we pull back the curtain on this secret. Please, just comment with the number 5. The number of this final ally, if you're truly ready. Thank you for your patience. And here is the conductor we've all been waiting for. Vitamin K2. But to truly understand its power, I want to start with something else that many of us care about, calcium. So many of us, especially the women in our lives, are told to take calcium for bone health. But there's a dangerous question that rarely gets asked: how do we know that calcium pill is going into our bones, and not wandering off to harden our arteries, causing high blood pressure? I wrestled with that question. And with the spirit of a teacher, I went looking for the answer myself. I started where I trust the most, the website for the National Institutes of Health, or the NIH. It was there that I first read about a landmark piece of research called the Rotterdam Study. I found and read the summary of it, published in the Journal of Nutrition. This was a massive undertaking. They followed over 4,800 adults in the Netherlands for 10 years. And their conclusion absolutely stunned me. The people with the highest intake of vitamin K2 in their diet had a 52% lower risk of severe artery calcification, and a 57% lower risk of dying from heart disease than people who ate the least. 57%. The reason is that vitamin K2 acts like a traffic cop in the body. It activates a protein that signals to calcium, hey, get into the bones. That's where you belong, and it stops calcium from depositing in the artery walls. When I brought this finding, with these specific numbers, to my doctor, he nodded. But then he looked me straight in the eye and said something incredibly serious. This is the part one promised you. He said, now, Harold, if you are taking a blood thinner like warfarin, also known as Coumadin, then supplementing with vitamin K2 on your own can cancel out the effects of your medication. It will neutralize the very drug that is saving your life. This is extremely dangerous. You are never, ever to do this without my strict supervision. You see, this conductor is powerful, but also very strict. One small mistake could lead to heart attack symptoms or a stroke. The lesson here isn't to be afraid of vitamin K2. The lesson is to be a wise patient, a true partner with your doctor. If this information was truly helpful and could help keep you or a loved one safe, please help me by commenting with the word "safe" below. It's the greatest gift you could give me today. I know that last bit of information might feel a little overwhelming, maybe even a little scary. When I first learned about all this, I felt the exact same way. But please, don't stay in that feeling of worry. Because the purpose of knowledge isn't to spread fear. The purpose of knowledge is to give us power. The power to act. And to show you just how miraculous that action can be, allow me to tell you a story about my neighbor, Margaret. Margaret is 74, and she's always been an active, sharp woman. But about a year ago, she was just exhausted all the time. She told me, Harold, my heart just feels heavy. She went to the doctor, did all the standard tests, and every time, they told her everything was normal, and that it was likely just part of getting older. But Margaret trusted her gut. She knew something wasn't right. Eventually, she found a doctor who truly listened and ordered more in-depth tests. And they found it. Margaret's body was severely deficient in vitamin B12 and vitamin D. Her arteries, while not yet blocked, were already beginning to stiffen. She was silently on the path toward a stroke, and she had no idea. With a few small changes to her diet and some targeted supplements, within a matter of weeks, Margaret's energy started to return. 6 months later, she took my hand and said something I'll never forget, "Harold, I don't just feel better, I feel younger. My heart feels like it belongs to someone 20 years younger than me." That is what the right knowledge can do. And that is the same power you now have in your hands. If Margaret's story gives you a little bit of hope and inspiration, too, please comment with the word hope below. We've talked about some very scientific sounding names: homocysteine, triglycerides, arterial calcification. It sounds complicated, doesn't it? It feels like you need a medical degree just to keep up. But I'm going to tell you an even better truth: the solution to these complex problems is surprisingly simple. So simple, in fact, that it can be right there on your breakfast plate tomorrow morning. Knowing which vitamins protect your heart is one thing, but applying that knowledge to your daily life is where the real magic happens. And I want to prove to you that it doesn't have to be difficult. Let me just share a few meals from my week, so you can see how I nourish my own heart. On Monday morning, I often start with a boiled egg. It's rich in vitamin K2 and B12. On Wednesday for lunch, I have my favorite salmon salad, packed with omega-3 and vitamin D. And on Friday evening, I'll have a cozy meal of baked mackerel, another fantastic source of omega-3s. Now, I know what you're thinking. Harold, how can I possibly remember all of this? Life is busy enough as it is. And you are absolutely right. That's why I've taken the time with my team to do something special for you. We've created Harold's 7-Day Healthy Heart Meal Plan. It's a very simple PDF that you can download for free, print out, and stick on your refrigerator. It has suggestions for all 3 meals a day, for the entire week, with very ordinary, easy-to-find foods, all designed to give you plenty of the 5 allies we've discussed. You don't have to guess anymore. You don't have to worry anymore. This gift, along with a vitamin checklist, is part of a small toolkit I call my Healthy Heart Starter Kit. I'll show you exactly how to get it at the end of the video. It's our way of making the complicated simple, and turning every meal into a deliberate act of love for your heart, helping you take control of your senior health. Now, tell me, does the idea of having a ready-made meal plan for the whole week make you feel a little more relieved? Please, just comment with the word yes if it does. Before I show you how to get that little gift I've prepared, I want you and I to make a promise. Not a big, complicated promise. Just a small one. Promise me that this week, you'll pick one thing. Just one single thing from everything we've talked about today, to start with. Maybe it's adding one more meal with fish to your menu. Maybe it's taking that 15-minute walk in the morning sun. Or maybe it's just asking your doctor about your vitamin B12 levels at your next checkup. Just one thing. Because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And so does your health. Your heart has carried you through an entire lifetime. It was beating on your happiest days and through your saddest nights. It was there when you welcomed your children, and it's still here so you can watch your grandchildren grow. It's done everything for you. Now, it's our turn to do something for it. And to help you take that first step, here is my promise to you. As I mentioned, I've prepared the Healthy Heart Starter Kit. It has the 7-Day Meal Plan and the Vitamin Checklist. It is completely free. To get it, just look in the description right below this video. There will be a link on the very first line. All you have to do is click it and follow the instructions. If you have any trouble, don't be afraid to ask your children or grandchildren for a little help. And finally, Please share this video with someone you love. Because knowledge, especially knowledge that can save a life, is meaningless if we keep it to ourselves. Thank you for taking the time to listen to an old man like me. Take care of your heart and please remember, you are not alone on this journey.